Hey everybody, I've got a video here for you today, and I am working on a video. Hopefully by the end of the weekend I'll have that up, but it is one that I have promised for a while. But I just want to do this video here today while some things are still fresh in my mind. And I hope a lot of you got a chance to check out the 3 Stones in His Belt, an Ancient Star Myth video. I'll leave a link to it below. But that video had to do with just symbolism in the ancient skies and how certain things, and especially the cow, was related to the Milky Way and the heavens, and he talks about Orion in that video and some other very interesting things. But one thing really popped out at me, and that comes from the ancient site of Nabta Playa, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with this site. And John Anthony Weston and Robert Bauval and a few other people have talked about it, and I have made a video on Nabta Playa. And here it is right here, Nabta Playa's amazing archaeoastronomy. And I made this video, wow, over 3 years ago now. And this has a lot of good information, and there's a visit to Nabta Playa. And I think Robert Bauval and a few other people talk in this video. I haven't watched this for a really long time. But there is some good information in this video. I do remember that. So I'll leave the link for that video below if this interests you more. But I've had some questions, and in that video that I uploaded, the 3 Stones in His Belt video from a few days ago, something really popped out of my mind, and one of my friends has accused me of having a photographic memory, and I kind of disagree with that because I can never remember where my keys are or my headphones or anything when I leave the house, so I kind of disagree with that. But I do remember distinctly an article I read about Nabta Playa, and maybe a direct connection to Newgrange and the cow symbolism, and I just want to read. First, just a brief history of Nabta Playa. It says this, and I will leave all these links below. It says, by the 6th millennium BC, evidence of a prehistoric religion or cult appears with a number of sacrificed cattle buried in stone-roof chambers lined with clay. It has been suggested that the associated cattle cult indicated in Nabta Playa marks an early evolution of ancient Egypt's Hathor cult, and that is directly related to the cow and the symbolism of the Milky Way. It says, by the 5th millennium BC, these people had fashioned one of the world's earliest known archaeoastronomical devices, about 1,000 years older, but comparable to Stonehenge. Research suggests that it may have been a prehistoric calendar which accurately marks the summer solstice. And this also, it has been shown by research by Thomas Brophy that it also has alignments to Orion, and I just want to read a little more. The research done by astrophysicist Thomas Brophy suggests that these monoliths might tell much more. The calendar itself is made up of one doorway that runs north-south, a second that runs northeast to southwest, marking the summer solstice, and 6 center stones. Brophy's hypothesis proposes first that the southerly line of 3 stones inside the calendar represented the 3 stars of Orion's belt, and the other 3 stones inside the calendar circle represented the shoulders and head stars of Orion as they appeared in the sky. These correspondences were for 2 dates, circa 4800 BC, and at precessional opposition representing how sky moves long term. Brophy proposes that the circle was constructed and used circa the later date, and the dual date representation was a conceptual representation of the motion of the sky over a precession cycle. And even more remarkably, it says this, Brophy found that the lines made to these megaliths match the spots in the sky where the various stars rose in vernal equinox heliacal rising. In analyzing the various distances, mulling through assumptions such as that they represented the brightness of the stars, he inadvertently found that they matched the distance of the stars from Earth on a scale of roughly 1 meter equals of 0.8 light years within the margin of error for astronomical distances calculated today. So in other words, he in his research, found that this accurately depicts also distances from Earth of these stars and their radial brightness. Now, I found that to be rather amazing. Now, let me jump over to this website here. And this talks about what was found at Nabta Playa. And going down in the earth, they found a remarkable sculpture. It says, "We have looked at the stone circle, the stone calendar on the top layer, and a sculpture that may show the declination or the movement of the galactic center over the precessional cycle of 26,000 years. The third and last layer is even more intriguing, as it seems to be a map of our galaxy. Similar to the Sphinx at Giza, this is a bedrock sculpture. It is carved into the bedrock and therefore is not a separate piece of stone that could have been moved from elsewhere. The bedrock sculpture is a stone disc, and Thomas Brophy tells us there is another stone disc that could also represent the Milky Way. This one at Newgrange in Ireland. And the connection between the cow and Newgrange that John Grigsby made in that video I made a couple days ago, and they reference Newgrange here. I find that amazing. And let me just show you what was found here. This is that massive sculpture that was found, I think, 15 feet or 23 feet down. And this, obviously, to me, is a representation of a cow. And there are certain things put on the sculpture that are a map of the galaxy, and John Grigsby's connection to the cow and what that actually represented in Egyptian history, mythology, and also seems to be represented in the symbolism at Newgrange. In this article, it makes a connection to the Hathor cult, and that is of the cow. I find this very amazing. Is this kind of where the dynastic Egyptians' symbolism evolved from? This early site, and maybe even the Sphinx, they were built kind of in the same way. And these animals that are represented in dynastic Egyptian symbolism. Is Nabta Playa one of the original sites where Orion seems to be marked, and there is symbolism that seems to be connected to another very famous ancient site in Ireland? I find this very remarkable, and there are more questions than answers about Nabta Playa, but some things seem to be very evident. But here is the map that was on this sculpture, or that was found down in this hole with this sculpture on it here, and it seems to have the galactic center, the Milky Way spiral arms depicted on it, a dwarf galaxy, and the amazing thing about this map is it isn't like as it would be seen from Earth. Just to conclude, it says, the map of the galaxy is not from the perspective of Earth. It is from the perspective of a point in the heavens we have labeled the North Galactic Pole. This point is not arbitrary. It is one designation in the galactic coordinate system which Wikipedia defines as a celestial coordinate system with the Sun as its center, the primary direction aligned with the approximate center of the Milky Way galaxy, and the fundamental plane approximately in the galactic plane. In other words, it is a system based on logic and would be reasonable for anyone with knowledge of the galaxy to invent and to use it. And this is just one of the amazing things about Nabta Playa, and I just wanted to give you a little history of this site and just some of the amazing things that were brought out by Thomas Brophy's research. And one thing that is becoming crystal clear to anybody that studies very ancient history and prehistory is somehow this ancient culture that seems to have given knowledge to the Mayans and Egyptians and Sumerians and other people had a remarkable knowledge of the stars and mapping them and their movements in the heavens. And I was watching the debate with Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson yesterday, where he, talks to these small-minded guys like Michael Shermer and a few other people, and they were just debating the whole, Is it an advanced civilization who was doing these, or was it hunter-gatherers that were making these very ancient sites like Göbekli Tepe? But one thing is very clear, these ancient sites, these people had tremendous knowledge, even more knowledge, I think, than we have today of the stars almost. So I call that an advanced civilization when they had knowledge of the stars that really defies our imagination today. Hope you thought this was interesting, and you all have a very nice day.